You are not here to compromise. Let that sink in for a moment. Because what I'm about to share with you isn't advice you'll find in some generic dating guide or glossy magazine. It's a manifesto for women who refuse to be anything less than extraordinary. Women who are ready to step into a standard so high that the world will bend around them. I remember the first time I realized I had been settling without even knowing it, sitting across from a man who seemed impressive on paper, commanding in the room. And yet, every conversation left me drained. Every interaction followed. I had dressed the part, smiled the part, performed the part, thinking that my approval and my attention were currency I could spend freely. And yet, I felt invisible, undervalued, almost invisible beneath the glitter of what I thought was desirable. That's when it hit me. Desire doesn't come from approval. It comes from presence. And presence is a queen's currency. It's the subtle way you carry yourself. The unspoken confidence that whispers in the room even before you speak. The magnetic rhythm in your voice. Your laughter. Your pauses, all the moments that make a man lean in. Not because you're loud. Not because you're trying to impress. But because you are entirely yourself and unapologetically sovereign in your body. Your mind. Your spirit. I've watched this play out in boardrooms overlooking city lights. In luxury hotel lounges. In private dinners where men who command empires suddenly soften. Lean forward. Ask questions they didn't intend to. Seeking to measure the weight of your presence. Realizing too late that you are not a prize to be earned, you are a queen. Fully aware of your value. Fully conscious of the power you carry when you refuse to settle. And this is the first layer of the queen standard. You do not negotiate your worth. Ever. With anyone who does not recognize it instantly. Effortlessly. That moment of clarity came to me after years of unlearning everything I thought a woman should be: compliant, agreeable, easy to please, because society and culture had trained me to equate access with love, and compromise with affection. And I want you to hear me clearly. Sisters, the world will always offer you a seat at tables that don't deserve your energy. The world will always try to convince you that you need to tolerate mediocrity for the sake of security, stability, or convenience. But here's the truth. Comfort is the enemy of the extraordinary. And anyone who asks you to settle is inviting you to betray your essence. So the queen standard begins with you recognizing that your energy is magnetic, scarce, and precious, that your attention is currency, that your presence alone can move rooms, change dynamics, and awaken desires without ever asking. I want you to take a moment and picture the life you've been allowing yourself to compromise on. The relationships, the opportunities, the men you've allowed to walk away with fragments of your brilliance without ever appreciating the totality of it. Imagine the shift that happens when you anchor in your own value. When you learn to move through the world like a woman who has nothing to prove, everything to embody, and every glance, every step, every word, every silence, a reminder of the high standard you carry. This is your permission to stop chasing, to stop explaining, to stop negotiating, and to start holding the space that your energy demands. Because from this point forward, you will never settle again. And if you're watching me now, I want you to take a breath. Subscribe if you haven't already. Turn on notifications. And make a promise to yourself in this moment that you will carry the queen standard in every encounter, in every relationship, in every room you walk into. The second layer of the queen standard is clarity, kind of clarity that turns confusion into power and hesitation into magnetism. I want you to visualize the difference between women who compromise and women who elevate. The compromising woman moves through life broadcasting neediness disguised as charm. She laughs too loudly, agrees too quickly, over-explains her value, and constantly fears abandonment. The woman who embodies the queen standard does none of these things. She is deliberate, measured, and unapologetically anchored in her worth. Men notice. Masculine men, especially those accustomed to dominance, feel it in their nervous systems before they even understand why. I remember sitting across from a man who was, by all definitions, a powerhouse, wealthy, commanding, assertive. And yet, the moment I stopped performing, the moment I simply listened, paused, and allowed my presence to speak for me, I watched him unravel in the most fascinating way. He began to explain himself, to seek my reaction, to wonder what I thought, not because I demanded it, but because I refused to provide the validation he expected. That's the psychological nuance most women never understand. Masculine energy thrives on projection. And when you stop offering easy access to your inner world, when you create strategic gaps in conversation, in attention, in emotional disclosure, men are forced to step up, to move forward, or to confront their own lack of alignment. I want you to hear me. This is not manipulation. This is presence, power, and feminine intelligence. It is the deliberate cultivation of an energy that polarizes in what aligns, pushes away what does not. The Queen Standard also includes non-negotiable boundaries, the kind that are immovable because they originate from self-respect, not fear. Philosophically, this is yin energized receptive, magnetic force that shapes the container within which life moves. Psychologically, it's secure attachment embodied. Relationally, it's the difference between fleeting chemistry and deep attraction. I want you to imagine moving through a social scene, a party, a business event, a dinner, knowing that your energy alone is enough to alter the atmosphere. People lean in. Men seek engagement. Your laughter, your poise, your pauses, the subtle sway of your body as you move with certainty at all, becomes the currency that elevates you above distraction, mediocrity, and dilution. And here's a secret that only elite women understand. The Queen Standard is deeply selective. Every glance, every smile, every word, every pause is weighed against your internal checklist of alignment. You do not apologize for standards. You do not dilute desires. You do not accommodate anyone's insecurities at the expense of your own clarity. Because clarity is magnetic, and magnetic energy cannot be negotiated. In this second layer, I want you to begin auditing every relationship, every interaction, every flirtation, every moment of intimacy you've allowed without conscious intention. Which men have been allowed proximity because you believed you could change them? Which connections have been maintained out of convenience, fear, or scarcity? And now, I want you to envision the life you will craft once every single interaction, every choice, every piece of your energy is curated according to the Queen Standard. That image aloneth luxury of selectivity, the effortless magnetism, the quiet authorities intoxicating. Isn't it? It's not about arrogance. It's about sovereignty. It's about inhabiting your own rhythm, your own pleasure, your own pace, and watching the world, and men specifically, recalibrate to your energy without any effort on your part. And if you're still with me, I want you to comment your biggest takeaway below. Not because I asked, but because anchoring insight is how energy transforms into reality. And while you do that, subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a masterclass on embodying the Queen Standard. Finally, the third layer, the Queen Standard in its purest, most untouchable form is your ability to embody your energy in a way that makes settling impossible, not just for men, but for yourself. You will no longer allow compromise to masquerade as love, tolerance to masquerade as intimacy, or convenience to masquerade as fulfillment. You will walk through life with a curated force field that elevates everything it touches, yet repels what is unworthy. I remember evenings in penthouses overlooking city lights, conversations with men whose egos could fill rooms, and yet they became hushed, careful, reflective in my presence, not because I tried to dominate, not because I sought control, but because my energy, my clarity, my sovereignty, my refusal to negotiate, demanded it. And this is where philosophy, psychology, and personal empowerment converge. Lao Tzu once said that the soft overcomes the hard, the yielding overcomes the rigid. And this is not poetic fluff, it is an actionable truth. A woman who fully embodies her Queen Standard navigates relationships like a general on a battlefield, knowing when to advance, when to retreat, when to hold still, and when to withdraw. Men feel this. They respond instinctively. They cannot resist coherence. They cannot resist selectivity. They cannot resist the magnetic rhythm of a woman who knows her worth and refuses to offer it as a favor. And so, I want you to take this deeply into yourself. Your value is non-negotiable. Your energy is priceless. Your presence is enough. You will audit every past interaction. Forgive yourself for the times you settled, and then release them, because settling was never you, it was conditioning. From this point forward, you will practice radical selectivity, deliberate pauses, strategic silence, and anchored confidence in every room, every interaction, every relationship. You will not chase. You will not explain. You will not dilute. You will radiate. And in doing so, you will create a gravitational force that draws aligned energy, inspires respect, awakens desire, and leaves men and the world aware that you are a sovereign entity whose standards are unshakable. This is not just a checklist. This is a lifestyle. This is a movement. This is the Queen Standard. So I want you to walk back into your life after this video like a queen. Comment "I needed this" below. Not because I asked, but because that declaration anchors the transformation. Subscribe, turn on notifications, and step into every interaction, every relationship, and every moment with the knowledge that you will never settle again. That your energy, your clarity, and your sovereignty demand it. And that the world, including masculine men, will inevitably bend toward the force of your presence. Not because you try, but because you are the standard. And once you internalize this, you will be unstoppable, magnetic, and entirely unapologetic in the mastery of your own life.